What's up, guys? Vital Syntax here, and this is somewhat of a reply video to a video I just watched that talked about dedicated servers and how they would affect the future Call of Duty games. And I'll have a link in the description to the video if you guys want to see what I'm exactly referring to. But he brought up some good points that dedicated servers aren't necessarily the best for every situation. There's some downsides to having dedicated servers, and I'll talk about that in a second. But if you guys weren't aware, with the next generation Xbox One, there's a rumor that all of the multiplayer games are going to have dedicated servers. I think it is just a rumor right now. In their press event, they did say that they had increased the number of dedicated servers for Xbox Live in general from, like, I think it was from 3,000 to 15,000, some ridiculous jump. And I think a lot of people are maybe making the assumption that those are game servers for developers to take advantage of, so they don't necessarily have to have their own dedicated servers for a game, because that's a very expensive task to, as a publishing company or as a developer, to have hundreds of servers for your users to play in. And what most companies will do is they will allow users to rent their own servers, or clans to rent their own servers. And at this point, on the PC platform, and I'm not sure about the consoles, you can let me know in the comments if it's the case on the consoles as well, but for Battlefield 3, almost all of the servers that people play in are user-run servers. And the disadvantage of that is that the user-run servers can choose the rules for those servers. And often those rules are things like having 5,000 tickets, or things like having instant vehicle respawns, or playing 64-man servers or 64 players on a really small close quarters map like Grand Bazaar or Scene Crossing or Operation Metro especially. And those servers explode, and everybody wants to play in those servers because you level up faster. Now, some people do really enjoy playing in those super fast-paced, non-stop action servers. I'm personally not one of them, and I see those servers more of a boost. They're like boosting from, the Call of Duty games. A lot of people that play those servers, I mean, if you look at some of the highest stat players on Battlelog, people that have some of the most kills and the highest play time, they literally play 24/7 Metro 64-man, like 5,000 tickets, non-stop. That's all they play. And all they do, and trust me, I've played against a couple of them. There's a guy named Kane1, and he's, I think, the most kills in Battlefield 3. And he has like 400,000 kills with the M320 grenade launcher, which is a ridiculously high number, right? And all he does is he sits in the back of the map and shoots grenades. And he never really shoots a gun. He just keeps lobbing grenades down the hallway. And if you try and push up, he kills you with a grenade. And a lot of people will do that. Like, there's some servers that are like no explosives, no RPGs, no grenades, things like that. But there's some people that are just basically boosting, and that's not. I think that's really stupid. And there will be some people that disagree with me and say that those 64-man 24/7 Metro servers are really fun, and I can see where you're coming from. It's kind of like the same sense in Call of Duty with Nuketown 24/7. A lot of people love that map, and I like that map in sometimes, in some rotations. And that's not nearly as much of a boosting type of setup as 64 people on Metro, but it's in some ways the same idea. It's to maximize your experience points, and I think that's one of the main reasons why people play on a server like that. And I think one of the worries that people have with dedicated servers is if, for example, Call of Duty was given dedicated servers, if those were user-run servers and users could rent those servers, and that's something that's probably going to happen because Activision and Infinity Ward can make money off of that. They can actually charge a fee on top of the actual rental fee to have a server for their game. Now they don't even have to host their own servers, so they're saving money that way. Now the users are happy because they have dedicated servers all of a sudden, and they're making extra money because players and clans are paying them directly, in a lot of cases, some type of fee to have a server for their game. Now, this just means that regulation is required. I don't think this necessarily means that dedicated servers are bad, because dedicated servers are awesome if they're regulated. If they're not regulated, then you can see some of the side effects, like you can see in Battlefield 3. So I think if Call of Duty was given dedicated servers, they'd have to be regulated, or else you're just going to see 18-man Nuketown servers over and over, and that's basically what everybody is going to play. And I think that's something that also Battlefield 3 needs to work on for Battlefield 4, is giving some regulations, maybe setting a maximum ticket count so that games don't last longer than 30, 45, or an hour long, because some of those servers last like 3 hours long. It's ridiculous. And maybe that means turning off instant vehicle respawns because it breaks the balance of infantry versus vehicle combat. Or maybe that means, limiting the player count on certain really close servers, so it's basically not just an XP farming fest. That regulation is really required. Now, another thing I wanted to bring up was that not all dedicated servers are created equal, which I think is something that some people are misconceived. For example, Call of Duty, for example, Counter-Strike versus Battlefield 3 dedicated servers. The more information that you calculate on the server, typically the better. And in some games, the hit detection and the bullets and all that stuff is calculated on the server. In some cases, it's calculated on the clients. And in Counter-Strike, all of that information is calculated on the server. That's called server-side hit detection. And in most cases, that means that it's going to have a reduction of being shot around corners, because the actual bullets and the calculations of where those bullets are flying are calculated by the server. So just like having it anything else calculated by the server instead of an individual person or a host, everybody in the game is gonna have substantially less delay, less lag, as long as they're connected to dedicated server in their area. And if you have that set up, most people are going to have a similar ping, probably somewhere between 20 and 80 ping, which is I would consider a usable ping for playing first-person shooters. And when you have those bullets calculated on the server, you'll typically have better hit detection. On your screen you'll hit people. On their screen they'll get hit when you shoot at them. If they run around a corner or go behind cover, you won't be able to shoot at them. But if it's client-side hit detection, which Battlefield 3 currently has, you can shoot a player on your screen and then he goes around the corner, whereas on his screen he was around the corner and then he shot him, because there's that factor of input lag that has to go between what you saw on your screen, then to the server, and then to what he sees on his screen, versus it's what happened on the server and then it's what you saw and what he saw at the same time, because it's being sent to both of your clients at the same time. So I just wanted to point out that hit detection is, it's a huge factor in first-person shooters, and not all games are created equal. Now there is a consequence of offloading more information to the server, and that servers typically get more expensive because you have to do tons and tons of calculations on a server. And when the player count goes up, when you have 64 people in a Battlefield server, and if you're also calculating all of the projectiles, which that's another thing. Battlefield 3 isn't just a ray-based mechanic where you shoot a bullet and it instantly shoots a ray. Essentially, think of a ray of light that instantly projects across where you're aiming. There's bullet drop, there's travel time, there's projectiles in Battlefield 3, whereas in Counter-Strike, it's kind of this instantaneous thing where when you click, a button or a laser essentially instantly shoots out of your gun. If anything is in its path, it's instantly dead. If you actually hit them or get a headshot or something. Whereas Battlefield, you have these calculations that also have to be done with the bullets, like travel time, bullet drop, wind resistance, which maybe will be added in Battlefield. I mean, that's not in Battlefield 3 right now, but that's another thing that's in some other games, like the Arma series with I don't remember what mod it is. Yeah, I just wanted to point out that, Battlefield 4 and Call of Duty and every other first-person shooter can benefit from dedicated servers as long as they're regulated and as long as they're controlled, and hopefully have server-side hit detection, because that's going to give all the users a lot more enjoyable experience. But anyway, that wraps up this video. If you guys enjoyed it, feel free to give me a like or a favorite. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about dedicated servers. Do you want to see them in all multiplayer games? Do you want to see them in Battlefield again? Do you want to see them in Call of Duty? Do you guys want to see server-side hit detection? And what type of regulations do you want to see? Because that's something that I think is fairly important for the next generation of FPS games that we're going to be playing. But anyway, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys later.